Good morning, it's Morgan. Welcome to Murder in the Morning. Get ready with me while I do a makeup look for my Halloween costume. This character doesn't really have a distinct makeup look at all, so you probably won't be able to guess who I'm gonna be based off the makeup alone. But today we are going to be talking about the Slenderman killings. So Slenderman is fictional, this story is not. It was brought on because of the whole Slenderman craze. This story is about 3 girls total, but trigger warning because they are minors. The killers are Morgan Geyser and Anissa Weier. So let's get into the story and I'll show you the costume at the end. It's also awkward because she and I have the same name. So it's just like a little uncomfy about this story, that fact. Because the last story I told was about somewhere that I used to live, and now this story is someone who shares the same name as me. So that is kind of crazy. Anyways, so Morgan was born May 16th, 2002. And from a young age, she just kind of showed a lack of empathy. When she watched Bambi for the first time, her parents were obviously, expecting her to feel for the mom deer, the doe, because, if, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Bambi, the mom dies in the beginning. But when Morgan watched this, she was kind of just like, run, Bambi, run, get out of there, and didn't show any remorse for the mom at all. And she also said, save yourself. Wasn't sad. But Morgan was a very quiet and creative kind of girl. She met Peyton Leitner in 4th grade and they instantly became friends. They're both very creative and they both loved cats. And Peyton would say that Morgan was really funny and they were best friends. They were basically inseparable from the time that they met. And Peyton also said that she saw Morgan sitting alone and she thought that no one deserved to be alone or to have to sit by themselves. But then the internet sensation Slenderman came out when they were in about 6th grade, and Morgan became very fixated on it and believed that it was real. Whereas Peyton, it scared her. I feel like most people, it scared them, and she didn't want anything to do with it. But Morgan found another friend, Anissa Weier, and they both really enjoyed learning about and talking about Slenderman. So their friendship kind of started based off of that. And Peyton thought, okay, this is fine. Like you can have this thing with her and I just don't need to be a part of it, and that's okay. But then Peyton started getting, according to Anissa and to Morgan, Peyton started getting popular, and that really bugged them because they weren't popular, and it just annoyed them that she was popular and they weren't. So Anissa and Peyton didn't really like each other. Anissa had called her some pretty mean names behind her back to Morgan. So Morgan was kind of just, in between. She got really close with Anissa quickly because of this whole Slenderman thing, but she was also really close to Peyton before. They stopped hanging out with Peyton more and more until Morgan's 12th birthday. She had a birthday party and she invited both of them. And, everyone thought, oh, it's fine. It's a party. We can just all hang out. So they went roller skating and then they went to bed and had a sleepover. And in the morning, Morgan and Anissa woke up first and went downstairs to have donuts without Peyton. But then they played with Silly Putty and played dress up. What Peyton didn't know and nobody knew was Morgan and Anissa were planning her murder during this whole thing. They had actually been planning this for months. They had a code word so that they could talk about it in public and had been doing research on how to kill people and all of this stuff. For them, this wasn't just party, sleepover, let's have fun. They had originally planned on killing Peyton that night. They were going to put duct tape over her mouth and stab her in the neck during the sleepover. But they were too tired from roller skating, so they didn't. While they were playing dress up and Peyton was putting on a pink princess dress, they discussed, hey, maybe we should take her to the park and go to a bathroom and kill her there because then the blood can go down the drain. So that was their next plan. And normally Morgan's mom would not let them go to the park alone, but since she was now 12 and they were going to be together and it was during the day and it was her party, she decided to let them go, and she said be back by a certain time, obviously be safe. And Morgan grabbed a knife from the knife block. Nobody saw her do it, obviously, and hid it in her backpack, and they went to the park. They did go to the bathroom stall, and Anissa, she took Peyton and she smacked her head against a concrete wall. Peyton is freaking out, and they're just like, oh, I'm so sorry, like, let's just forget that ever happened, because she didn't get knocked out. She was still conscious afterward, and her head just obviously really hurt because she just got smacked against a concrete wall. But Morgan and Anissa were just like, sorry, we won't do it again, let's keep playing. And I'm sure immediately after that, Peyton knew something was wrong and she wasn't safe there, but she didn't know what to do, couldn't leave type thing, and was just like, okay, well, they tried to hurt me, but they're done now and I just want to go home, kind of thing. Morgan and Anissa said, hey, let's play hide and go seek. And that's what they decided to do, go play hide and go seek. And Anissa said to Peyton, you should lay down and I'll cover some leaves over you. And while she was laying down covered with leaves, Anissa and Morgan started talking about how to do the murder now. And they were saying, you should do it, no, you should do it. And they ended up deciding on Morgan doing it because Anissa was squeamish, is what she said. Morgan says that people who trust you become very gullible. It's sort of sad when she's describing Peyton trusting her in this moment. Morgan said to Peyton, don't be scared, I'm just a little kitty cat, which in her mind, that is what her role was going to be when she lived with Slenderman. All of this started because Anissa and Morgan thought that if they killed someone close to them, a best friend, that Slenderman would let them live with him in his mansion. And if they didn't kill Peyton / someone close to them, their whole family would be killed. So they trusted a fictional monster that they should kill their best friend so that they can live with him, or else he'll kill their family. Anyways, that was their reasoning behind what they did. But she believed that once she killed Peyton, she could go live with Slenderman, and her MO would be that right before she kills someone, she would say, oh, I'm just a little kitty cat, don't be scared. And that she would just be like a scary bad kitty when she was with Slenderman. So then Anissa told Morgan, kitty now, go ballistic. And when asked about what happened next, Morgan said, I already told you, stab, 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 stab. It was weird. I felt no remorse. I thought I would. I actually felt nothing. So Anissa watched as Morgan stabbed Peyton 19 times with the kitchen knife. She cut her arms, legs, torso, and she hit 2 major organs, the liver and the stomach, and she nearly hit her heart. Morgan said that Peyton said, I trusted you, and then she said, I hate you. She tried to stand and couldn't because of the blood loss and because of the attack. And Anissa said, don't try to stand. You'll lose more blood that way. We'll go get help. And that was obviously a lie. They took off and tried to head to Slenderman's mansion. Peyton was smart enough, even in that moment, even after, the chaos that was happening, the fear, the pain, the blood loss, all of that, she knew that they weren't getting help and they were going to leave her there to die. And so she crawled until she hit the road and she found a cyclist. Around 10 a.m. on May 31st, 2014, a call to the 911 operator took place. The cyclist goes, a 12-year-old female has been stabbed. And the 911 operator goes, stabbed? Did you say stabbed? And he's like, yeah, she's been stabbed. I mean, it's hard to believe, especially when you find out who the killers are, that it was 2 other 12-year-olds. Again, amazingly enough, Peyton was coherent enough to tell them exactly who did it. She said, Morgan Geyser and Anissa Weier did this to me. She was like, Morgan is the one who actually did it, you know. So the police started looking and they found them both 5 miles down the road heading to Slenderman's home. Again, he's fictional. When Peyton was at the hospital, the first thing she said was, did they get them? Are they there? Are they in custody? Are they still out? Morgan and Anissa were both already in custody while Peyton was still in surgery, and they quickly confessed to their crime. Morgan said, is she dead? I was just wondering. I might as well just say it. We were trying to kill her. When Anissa found out that Peyton wasn't dead, she was like, oh, does that mean I can go to school? No, just because she's not dead doesn't mean that what you did, like, it's not just if she's dead, you did something wrong. You did something wrong and you're going to get punished for it. You can't just go back to school. So it just shows, like, one, how young their minds are, and two, how little they thought of what happened. They had no care about it at all. Like I said before, Peyton loved cats, and all of the girls did. Some kids at the school wanted to paint whiskers on their face, but since the adults at the school knew what went down, the whole now kitty, go ballistic right before she gets stabbed, and the don't be afraid, I'm just a little kitty cat, they said, no, don't do that. Because can you imagine how traumatizing that would be? She came back to school and everyone was painted as cats after what just happened. Yeah, so thankfully they didn't do that. But it is really sweet that the kids at the school wanted to do something for her. It was clear that Morgan was the ringleader in this situation. When the police went to her home, there were tons of pictures of Slenderman and there were mutilated dolls. And her internet searches said how to get away with murder and what kind of insane am I. Also, they looked up when they were trying to figure out how to make it easier to kill someone. It said that they should be asleep or unconscious and to not look them in the eye. So that's what they were trying to do with the whole banging her head against a concrete wall and doing it while she was asleep. That is so crazy that 12-year-olds are thinking this way and planning this way. It's just so sad. And also their best friend, like doing it. I mean, Morgan did it to her best friend. So they were arrested and charged with attempted first-degree intentional homicide because, like I said, they had been planning this for months. Anissa pled guilty to a lesser charge and was found not guilty by reason of a mental illness or mental disease. She was sentenced to 25 years in a mental health institution, but she was released in 2021. But it was a conditional release. She was required to live with her father, receive treatment, and agree to GPS monitoring and limited internet access. The crazy thing to me, though, that doesn't make sense is that she pled guilty and then they still found her not guilty. So it's like she was already going to get a lesser charge and then they found her not guilty, which gave her an even lesser charge. So it's just crazy. They did have the discussion in question whether to try them as adults or as minors, but because of the premeditation part, if they hadn't been charged as adults, they would have gotten an even lesser sentence. And after how Anissa and Morgan had already felt no remorse and all of this stuff, they were like, no, we have to try them as adults. Morgan also pled guilty and she was also found not guilty by reason of mental illness. She was given 40 years in Winnebago Mental Health Institution near Oshkosh, Wisconsin. She remains there to this day and will be there for the foreseeable future. While she was in custody, she was diagnosed with onset schizophrenia, and her father also suffers from schizophrenia and was diagnosed at a young age. Morgan continued to hear voices in the months leading up to her trial, and she said that she could communicate telepathically with characters like Harry Potter and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So after her sentencing, Morgan apologized and said, I just want to let Bella, that was her nickname, that was Peyton's nickname, was Bella. So Morgan said, I just want to let Bella and her family know that I'm sorry and that she never meant for this to happen and she hopes she's doing well. Yeah, she didn't mean for this to happen. She meant to kill her. Like, she didn't mean to get caught or to, have Peyton survive. So yeah, I agree with her that that's not what she intended to do. But I don't know, she might be sorry now, but at the time she definitely wasn't sorry. Peyton is doing amazing. In 2019, she expressed optimism and even gratitude. She says that without this having happened, that she wouldn't be the go-getter that she is now. Obviously, when you're 12 years old, you don't have your whole life planned out, and this kind of pushed her to figure out what she wanted to do with her life, to make her life more meaningful. And she has plans to start college. I mean, she's probably already in college by now because that was in 2019. But it's really sad. She had a hard time trusting family, like aunts and uncles. She had a hard time trusting. She would sleep with broken scissors underneath her pillow because she was just so scared. And so it's like, yeah, she is on the right track now, but that trauma and obviously the pain that she went through, and just like now her own best friend did that to her. So it's like her trust is just like completely broken. And it makes me so mad for her. I'm glad she's doing well, but it's just horrible what happened. It's just really sad, the whole story. And they were so young. It's insane how young they were, and all because of this internet sensation of Slenderman. I mean, this violent behavior might have come out eventually anyways, even if Slenderman had never happened, but, was the driving factor for this exact scenario. So I'm gonna go change into my costume and show you what it looks like. I'm Jessie from Team Rocket from Pokemon. I washed this shirt, and I shouldn't have because now it's like rolling up and the paint is a little thin, but let me show you the whole fit. So here's the full look with the skirt and everything. Let me know if you recognize this costume or have seen Pokemon. I really like this costume. It's just so sad that 3 lives plus their parents were ruined, and they were so young. So let me know what I should talk about next week, and see you later. Bye.